everyone, Kevin Pollack back here with Emerging Revolutionary War. We are slowly making our trek back east in the footsteps of the British Army back toward Boston on April 19th, 2025, the 250th anniversary of the events of April 19th of 1775. We're here at a small location, a small stop along the Battle Road between Concord and Boston, known as Foot of the Rocks. It was here where some of the bloodiest fighting along the Battle Road on the afternoon of April 19th began. Really one stretch from here down to the village of Monotony, which we'll be stopping at shortly in the Jason Russell House, about a mile off to my left in front of the camera, will be some of the bloodiest fighting, actually will be the bloodiest fighting of the Battle Road action and of the Lexington Alarm on April 19th. By this point, as the British were continuing to move back toward Boston, this was a much more densely populated area of the Boston countryside, or the countryside west of Boston. One British soldier referred to this area as one continuous village. And of course, as the alarm continued to spread about British troops having moved out of Boston the previous night, more and more militia and Minutemen organizations from the surrounding countryside began to converge in this area. By this time on the afternoon of April 19th, there were militia and Minutemen companies from 4 different Massachusetts counties and from over 30 towns. And so they really began to swarm the British soldiers at this point and really plague and hinder their withdrawal back toward Boston itself. I want to read for you a quote from a great book in the Emerging Revolutionary War series by Rob Orison and Phil Greenwald, A Single Blow. You can go to Savas Beatty's website right now and purchase a copy right here on the anniversary. But Percy said, the British commander said of the militia and Minutemen tactics that day, "During the whole affair, the rebels attacked us in a very scattered and irregular manner, but with perseverance and resolution. Indeed, they knew too well what was proper to do so. Whoever looks upon them as an irregular mob will find himself very much mistaken." Now, speaking of our own irregular mob, we have found him. Mark Malloy is back with us from his actions on the Battle Road, and Mark is going to share with you a story of one of his favorite characters involved in the fighting here at Foot of the Rocks. Mark, take it away.
Yeah, so you got here. Now, this is the great thing about the Emerging Revolutionary War books, is that it just doesn't tell you what happened, it tells you where it actually happened. So there's actually driving tours that tell you about some of these little off the beaten path places. So this is called Foot of the Rocks. This is a little plaque that was put up after the bicentennial. Now, as you can tell, this is very different than the area we had just come from. You know, the Lexington Green, Concord, the Battle Road area that's preserved by the National Park Service, all maintain some of that feel from that time period back in 1775. As you can see around here, the town of Monotony has grown up and been developed and has been renamed. It's been now called Arlington, Massachusetts. And oftentimes this section of the Battle Road is overlooked, partly probably because of those reasons. But it was here that some of that, as Kevin was saying, really some of the bloodiest fighting was happening. And what I think is really fascinating is the man who we were with last night down in Boston, Dr. Joseph Warren, who had sent Paul Revere on his midnight ride to go warn people. He's going to actually come out, ride out, and join up with the Minutemen and the militias that are now pouring in from all over the place and attacking the British column. And there was some confusion, so you have General William Heath, who's going to help try and restore some of that formations, and Dr. Warren is going to try to be, as he often is known to be, he doesn't simply want to talk, he doesn't simply want to write, he doesn't simply want to be a doctor, he wants to actually fight, and he wants to be in the middle of it. And so he is actually with some of the militia here, and in fact he gets so close with the bullets whistling around his head that one musket ball actually knocks a pin out of his hairpiece he had. You can imagine how close a call that would have been. And thankfully he survived that and became important in the new army that was now converging and would soon be laying siege to Boston. But he's unfortunately not going to be that lucky a few months later at Bunker Hill when he chooses to go to the hottest place in the fighting, and ultimately pays the price of his life. But yeah, this is a really kind of neat place. And even though, like I said, it's been built up, you got Dunkin' Donuts and apartment buildings and houses, you can still see the geography of the area. The road still follows the same path that the battle road took. So you can see how the ground goes down, and you can imagine the farm pastures around here. There would have been militiamen firing on the British, and like I said, it starts getting really bloody. And I think our next stop is really going to kind of highlight just how brutal the fighting gets here in Menotomy. So stay tuned for that.